The My Ford University Podcast, episode 38. Today we're going to talk about the balanced scorecard. I think you guys will get a lot out of this. You'll enjoy it. So we're going to go through it. Want to welcome everyone back to the My Ford University Podcast. I'm George Sloan, founder and dean of My Ford University, where we teach you the skills, the tools, and thinking frameworks to run smarter, stronger businesses without wasting years or hundreds of thousands of dollars on traditional business school. So today's episode is for anyone tired of chasing numbers that don't tell the whole story. Let me ask you this. Are you hitting your revenue targets but losing good people? Is your profit growing while your customers' experience is tanking? Do your dashboards look good while your operations are quietly breaking down? That's what happens when you measure outcomes without measuring the system that creates them. And that's why today we're talking about one of the most powerful tools in your strategic toolkit, the balanced scorecard. What is a balanced scorecard, you probably are asking? Well, we're going to use an acronym for it. The BSC was created by Robert Kaplan and David Norton in the 1990s. And no, it's not a theory, it's a framework. It's used by some of the best run companies in the world. I think you can also use it on yourself personally. It forces you to stop just looking at financial outcomes and start measuring what actually drives those outcomes. You might want to hit certain things, but there's things that are going to make that happen, and that's what you're going to look at. So the BSC looks at your business from four angles. It'll look at it from a financial angle. Are we growing profitably? It'll look at it from a customer angle. Are we serving customers well? It'll look at internal processes. Are our operations efficient and effective? And it'll look at learning and growth. Are we building capability for the future? I mean, let's be clear. This is not just a reporting tool. It's a management system. It tells you where you're strong, where you're weak, and where to focus next. I'll give you a quick aside. I spent a lot of time working with some colleagues who had to give monthly and quarterly reports. And I said to them, all you're doing is reporting the data, but I don't know if you fully understand what's behind it, and you don't really know how to interpret it and then be able to speak to it and be able to explain why you need additional resources perhaps and make a business case for it. So I worked with them in terms of not just being data reporters, but being able to understand it completely. When an anomaly or some strange event happens, that's going to be one of the first things that, an executive is going to look at. And you need to be able to say, oh, that was an anomaly. Something special happened there. It's not the start of a new trend. Or maybe it is, and you should be able to explain it. Okay, let's get back to the focus here. Why most businesses will miss the mark? Well, too many businesses operate with tunnel vision. They look at revenue, they look at profit, they look at costs. And that's it. Well, the problem is that there are other factors and things that impact those, and it pays to get behind it and take a look, go a little deeper. And the problem is, like I say, revenue, profit, and costs, they are what's known as lagging indicators. They indicate after the fact. They tell you something that already happened. The balanced scorecard, on the other hand, includes, so it'll have some lagging indicators, but it also includes leading indicators, the things you can improve before they become problems. And these leading indicators typically go and ultimately become your results, which are in many cases your lagging indicators. Let me give you an example. Let's say your revenue is flat. Your traditional dashboard tells you that you've got a problem, but it doesn't tell you why. But your balanced scorecard shows the internal processes are clunky. It shows that your NPS scores are dropping, and it shows your team is undertrained. Let me tell you what NPS stands for. That's another tool, and I'll do a full content article on that at some point. It's known as the Net Promoter Score, and it basically takes a measure and it boils it down to one thing. And guess who it's checking? It's checking with your customers, who doesn't just like your business, but is willing to promote your business. It's a scoring framework, and it will actually, if you can get it up high enough, you'll have people spreading the good news. I've said this before too. There are studies that have been done. Good news and happiness with a product does not travel as fast as bad news and unhappiness with a product. You might tell 2 or 3 people that a product was good or a service was good, but you get shitty service, oh, you're going to tell everyone. You'll tell 20 people. So keep that in mind, and that's why a Net Promoter Score is important. So with these things, by the way, you now have something you can act on, not just a number to worry about. So let's go and look at the 4 perspectives and take a slightly deeper dive into it, okay? Let's break each one down and talk about how you can apply them in your business. So we'll start with number 1, the financial perspective. This is where most people start and stop because it's easy, it's convenient, it's something they can understand, or they just get plain lazy. So when you're talking financial perspective, you measure revenue, profit margins, operating expenses, and ROI, or return on investment. Yes, you need all of this, but this is just one piece of the overall puzzle. The real power comes from linking the financial outcomes to the other 3 areas. I'm going to say that again. The real power of the balanced scorecard comes from linking the financial outcomes, revenues, profits, operating expenses, ROI, when they are linked with the other 3 areas. Okay, let's talk about those other 3 areas. Number 2, customer perspective. Ask yourself, how do our customers see us? Are they loyal? Would they recommend us? Remember that Net Promoter Score? So some of your metrics might include a Net Promoter Score. It might include retention and churn rates. It's really great when you have a high retention rate with your customers because it takes so much work to get them that if you can have a high retention rate, your business is in a much better footing to move forward. But on the other hand, if you have churn rates that are very high and you're constantly burning through customers, you constantly got to go out and get new ones. Getting new customers, new customer acquisition is a lot more expensive than customer retention. All right. Also, are you looking at customer satisfaction? You also want to look at the average support resolution time. I mean, are people having problems? And if they do have problems, do you resolve them quickly? And are they happy with how you resolve them? So if your revenue is flat but churn is rising, that tells a very different story. Number 3, internal process perspective. This is the engine room. Are all of your systems and processes supporting your goals, or are some of them dragging you down? Track things like process cycle time, error rates, project delivery speed, operational costs per unit. If your customer complaints are rising and delivery times are slipping, your internal engine needs tuning. A lot of people forget about this process and they skip over it because it's the dirty work. It's not sexy, but it's the engine for the whole thing. Your processes, your fulfillment, everything about your business comes back to this. Don't overlook it. All right, number 4, learning and growth perspective. This is where most businesses also fall short because this category looks at employee engagement, training completion, innovation efforts, and leadership development. If you're not building your capability, your business is dying slowly and you won't see it until it's too late. Don't neglect your people because in many cases your people are the front line. They're the boots on the ground. They're in the trenches. And if they're unhappy or if they're not properly trained, it shows to your customers. And that has a negative effect. Don't overlook this one. So, Let's talk about building your first scorecard. We're going to walk you through the basic framework to build your own balanced scorecard. Number one, clarify your strategy. What's your goal? You want to grow by 20%? Do you want to launch a new product? Do you want to dominate a niche? What is it you're trying to do? If you don't know what you're aiming for, none of this matters. You can't shoot blindfolded, folks. You got to know what your target is. Step two, set objectives in each perspective. I'll give you an example here. I'll give you the perspective, and then I'll give you the objective. Perspective, financial. The objective, increase recurring revenue. Perspective, customer. Objective, improve satisfaction score. Perspective, internal processes. Objective, reduce product cycle time. And then learning and growing perspective. Objective, upskill the entire sales team. I would also focus on the support team. Don't overlook those folks, because the salespeople are there at the front end, but the ongoing relationship, and if you want to retain customers, comes from the support team. Okay, step number three. You now have a general idea of what it is you want to do, but now you need to define your metrics and targets. You need to tie these things to a clear, measurable KPI that is tied to each objective. KPI, again, being a key performance indicator. If you want to get some examples, you want to think in terms of revenue, for example, $250,000 a month. Your NPS score, or Net Promoter Score, 75% plus. Actually, I typically see it in a scale of 1 to 10, and you want 7 or better. Project cycle. You want to get it down below 30 days. See, we're getting specific here. And your customer relationship management certifications. You want 100% of the team to have it. That might be a little ambitious, but I would at least go for 90% or better, or you set a time frame where you stagger it. The bottom line is you got to get specific. Step 4, you need to assign ownership. Every metric needs a name next to it. No orphaned metrics. Who is responsible for this? Who is the champion for this? Who's going to be the one that rallies the troops to make sure that they get these things going and get it right? Number 5, you want to review this monthly or quarterly, sometimes even more than that, but at least monthly, and ask certain questions. Hey, what's working? What's stalled? What needs to be fixed? I've said this many times. What's working, and we can do more of it. What's not quite working, can we adjust? Are there some things that need to be abandoned? You need to look at things and attack them and get them fixed and get them right. And then there'll always be something else, because this is a continuous process. This is where most teams will drop the ball. They don't take the time to do the follow-up. The balanced scorecard is not a one-and-done report. It's an active operating system. And it's like I would equate it to the physical exam. You go to the doctor and you get a checkup. You probably only do it once a year, but with a balanced scorecard and a business, you should be doing it at least monthly. Okay. I always like to talk about mistakes to avoid. What are the pitfalls? So let's hit on the top 5 balanced scorecard fails that you want to avoid. Too many metrics. You want to keep it focused, maybe 2 to 3 per perspective. Number 2, metrics with no owner. Accountability is everything. If nobody owns it, then nobody owns it. You got to have someone who's responsible and is the champion and the cheerleader for your metric. Number 3, ignoring leading indicators. Leading indicators, you want to be tracking the activity, not just the outcomes. Think in terms of inputs and outputs. You make more sales calls. If you got a good sales script, you should be getting more results on the back end. So a leading indicator is more activity, and the lagging indicator is the result. Okay, number 4, No connection to the strategy. Every metric must link back to your vision. They all have to work together. That is how you get the best results out of this. Remember, it's called a balanced scorecard, and you need balance among these perspectives. Number 5, no follow through. If you don't review it, don't bother building it because you're just wasting your time. All right, let's talk about who should use this. You don't need to be a huge company, although huge companies do use it. If you're a startup scaling past 10 people, probably makes a whole lot of sense. If you're a small business ready to professionalize your business, makes a lot of sense. If you're a department inside a larger organization, you can do one that's individualized for your department. It should, in many ways, roll up into the goals and objectives of the larger organization, but you can still start somewhere. Maybe you're the beta test to show everybody how it would work. All right, if you're a nonprofit with multiple stakeholders, makes a lot of sense. Or if you're a solo founder trying to work smarter, again, you can use this on yourself. The balanced scorecard will give you clarity, alignment, and leverage in each of these situations. Let me give you another real example here. Let's say you're a digital marketing agency. Your balanced scorecard might look like this. You ready? Perspectives. You got the financial, you got the customer, you got the internal, you got the learning and growth. The corresponding and respective objectives. Financial, boost monthly revenue. Customer, improve retention. Internal, reduce onboarding time. Learning and growth, train account managers. What's the effective KPI for each? For the financial, you want to get your sales up. The KPI for customer retention, you might want to look at churn and getting that to reduce. The KPI for internal, when you're trying to reduce the onboarding time, get the average number of days to go down. Learning and growth, getting those folks trained. Certificate completion. What are your targets? Okay. The financial, it might be $100,000 a month. For the customer retention, you want the churn to go less than 5%. For the internal, reducing onboarding time, you want it 7 days or less. For learning and growth, getting those folks to complete those certifications, you're shooting for 100%. And who's the owner of each of these? Well, the financial might be the CFO or the chief financial officer. For the customer, it might be head of the customer experience or CX. For the internal, it might be the ops manager. And for learning and growth, it could be the HR lead. You set things up like this. Now you're not just working, you're improving. All right. Hopefully this helped. Let's get some final thoughts for you. Balanced scorecard can help do what most teams don't. Connect with what you're doing today to where you want to go tomorrow. Again, I always talk about the idea. What's your current state, what's your desired state, and what's the bridge, the gap that you have to deal with in between. So if you're tired of random metrics, siloed performance, and teams pulling in different directions, then it might be time to put a balanced scorecard approach to work. Because what gets measured gets managed. I'll say that again. What gets measured gets managed. And what gets aligned gets results. Okay. If you're learning and getting something out of this, I encourage you, go and find out more on the My Ford University website. I would hope that it helps you with your performance, depending on where you want to use it. I would share it with a founder, a team lead, or a business owner who really needs it, or use it for yourself. I've always said, don't keep us a secret, share us. And until next time, build smart, think sharp, and measure what actually moves the needle. This is George Sloan from My Ford University, where you can learn it fast and apply it faster. We'll see you the next time. Thank you.